Ho, ho, ho! Hello there! Welcome! I am so very glad you have decided to join me. Yes, it is me, Santa Claus, speaking to you from my favorite armchair, right here at the North Pole. The fire is crackling merrily, and through the window I can see the snow falling like powdered sugar on the village. It is a perfect evening. Now, I thought it would be simply wonderful to spend a bit of time together. Think of this as a nice long visit with no rush at all. Over the next while, I plan to share a few things from my big book of memories, perhaps a story or two that I hold dear. We might even look at some of the wonderful letters that have found their way here, and I will do my best to answer some of the questions you may have on your mind. It's just a chance for us to share a quiet moment together, away from the hustle and bustle of the everyday. So please, make yourself comfortable. Whether you are working on something special, tidying up, or simply resting your eyes for a moment, you are most welcome here. Thank you for choosing to spend your time with me. It truly does warm my old heart to have your company. Now let us settle in for a while. Ho, ho, ho! Have you ever built a little house so sweet you could eat it, wall by wall? One with a gumdrop path and snowy icing on the roof? Ah, the wonderful tradition of the gingerbread house. I must say, it is one of my very favorites to see popping up in homes all around the world. The smell of spice and ginger filling the kitchen, the careful work of placing each tiny candy decoration, it fills my heart with such warmth. I see them all, you know. Some are grand palaces, and some are charmingly wobbly cottages. Each one is perfect. But this tradition started with a story, a fairy tale, in fact, from Germany more than 200 years ago. Perhaps you know it. Two clever storytellers, the brothers Grimm, wrote about two children who found a marvelous cottage in the forest, one made entirely of gingerbread and sweets. Well, that idea was just too delightful to stay inside a book. People began to bake and build their own little edible homes, and a beautiful tradition was born. And I think that's the real magic of it. It's not about building the straightest walls or the neatest roof. Oh no, it's about the fun of creating something together. It's in the laughter when a wall tumbles down, and in the shared joy of decorating. The elves and I have seen some truly spectacular creations over the years, and the messiest ones are often made with the most love. So, what began as a house in a fairy tale has become a home built of happy memories. Each time you place a candy on that roof, you're adding a little bit of joy to the season, building something much sweeter and much stronger than gingerbread. You're building a memory. The mailbag is overflowing again with such wonderful questions. It truly warms my heart to see so much curiosity in the world. It reminds me that the spirit of Christmas is alive and well all year round. Let's see what we have today. This first one comes from a kindred spirit, a ship's captain named Eva. She asks, do you keep a captain's log or a special journal of your Christmas Eve journeys each year? And what kind of things do you write in it? Ho, 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 Captain Eva, what a marvelous question. I do indeed. I call it my Starlight Log. It's a very old book, bound in deep red leather with a star on the cover. And much like your own log, it tracks my journey. But I don't just write down the weather patterns or how many rooftops I've landed on. Oh no, I write down the feelings. I'll make a note of the way the moonbeams danced on the snowy peaks of the Andes. I'll describe the scent of cinnamon and baking bread drifting up from a sleeping village in Germany. I write about the silent wishes I can feel in the air, the pure, unspoken hopes of children and grown-ups alike. Sometimes I'll even sketch a little picture of a particularly clever snowman I've spotted, or a constellation that looked just like one of my reindeer. It's my way of remembering the magic, you see. Not just the route, but the joy of the voyage itself. And here is another one, a very important question from young Lily, who is 6 years old. Lily asks, what happens to the Christmas magic in a cookie after you take a bite? Does it turn into a little spark of energy to help power the sleigh? Lily, your heart is full of wisdom. You are very, very close to the truth. When a cookie is left for me, it's filled with more than just flour and sugar. It's filled with kindness, with thoughtfulness, and with the happy spirit of the person who left it. When I take a bite, that magic doesn't just vanish. That wonderful kindness warms me from the tips of my boots to the top of my cap. It keeps the chill of the night air away. And you are right, it does help the sleigh. The reindeer can feel it too. That little spark of love makes their bells jingle a little brighter, and it puts a little extra spring in their step as we leap back into the sky. It is the most wonderful fuel in all the world. Thank you, Captain Eva and young Lily, for such splendid questions. And thank you to everyone who writes to me. Always hold on to your wonder. Keep looking, keep asking, and you will find magic in the most unexpected places. You know, the world is filled with grand traditions, but the one I hold dearest is the quietest of them all. It happens every year in the still, peaceful hours of Christmas morning, long after the last gift has been delivered. Mrs. Claus, she's always waiting for me. The reindeer are warm in their stalls, the sleigh is silent, and I finally step back into our home. And there, on our little wooden table, is a single, perfect mince pie. Oh, but it's not for me. Goodness knows I've had my fill of cookies and milk. No, this pie is special. It's for our home. It's our quiet way of saying thank you to the North Pole itself, for the workshop, for the starlight, for another year of wonder. And this isn't just any pie. Mrs. Claus bakes it with a single remarkable frostberry. It's a tiny, shimmering berry that only ripens on Christmas Eve, and it gives the pastry the most wonderful, faint, silvery sparkle. It looks as if she's folded a bit of the winter sky right into the crust. We share it, just the two of us, without much need for words. We just sit together, feeling the warmth of the fire and the deep, contented peace of a promise fulfilled. It's in those moments, in that shared silence and simple gratitude, that the true spirit of the season always finds me again. It's a reminder that the greatest magic isn't in the flying or the fanfare, but in the love you come home to. One of the loveliest sounds in the entire world is the sound of a good, honest laugh. It warms a room faster than any fireplace. The elves and I are always sharing little riddles and bits of fun to keep our spirits bright while we work. I thought I might share a few with you. Here's one that Comet told me just the other day. What do you call a reindeer that can write with both hooves? Bambidextrous! Oh, that one's clever. We have a few reindeer who are quite talented with their calligraphy, I must say. All right, here is another favorite from the mailroom. What is the difference between the Christmas alphabet and the regular alphabet? The Christmas alphabet has no L. A simple, happy little thought. It reminds me of the carols we all sing. Such a wonderful sound. Now for one more. This one is especially for those chilly winter nights. What do you get when you cross a snowman and a vampire? Frostbite! Oh my! A bit spooky, but mostly just silly. It does make one think to pull their mittens on a little tighter, doesn't it? It feels good to share a smile. Remember that a little bit of laughter is a wonderful gift to give, and it costs nothing at all. It's a light that shines brightest when shared with others. Oh, I wonder, have you ever looked at my big red suit, or perhaps the great sack I carry, and thought to yourself, how does it all work? It's a fair question. That sack holds so very much, and my suit, well, it sees its fair share of chimneys in one night, and yet it never seems to rip or tear. The secret isn't in the mending, you see. It's in the making. High in the attic of my workshop, where the air is still and smells of old wood and winter sky, there sits a very special machine. We call it the Starlight Loom. It is ancient, and it is tended to by the oldest of the elves, whose hands move with a practiced, knowing grace. They are the weavers. But they don't use wool or cotton or anything of the sort. Oh no, their thread is something far more wonderful. On the coldest, clearest nights, they venture out with crystalline baskets to gather the fallen starlight that blankets the snow. It looks like shimmering, silvery dust, and when spun, it becomes a thread that glows with a soft, steady light. They weave this starlight cloth that is softer than velvet, yet stronger than anything you can imagine. It is this starlight cloth that makes my suit and my sack. It's why the sack can stretch to hold a world of toys and dreams, never once straining at the seams. And it's why my suit can squeeze through the narrowest of passages and emerge without a single snag. It's one of the many quiet wonders of this place, a little piece of magic working behind the scenes to ensure the big magic of Christmas Eve can happen. It's all woven together, you see, a tapestry of kindness and care. Oh, yes, woven from starlight itself.
Ah, the mail sack. It's always brimming with such wonders. Most letters ask for toys and games, which brings me such delight to read. But every now and then a letter arrives that asks for something you can't quite wrap in paper and tie with a bow. Something from the heart. Let me see. I have one right here. Dear Santa, my name is Lily, and I'm 9. My school is having a holiday play, and I have a solo. It's just a small song, but I love it very much. The problem is, when I think about singing in front of everyone, my tummy feels like it's full of wobbly jelly, and my voice gets all shaky. I've been practicing so hard. For Christmas this year, I don't really need a toy. I was wondering, could I please have a little bit of your reindeer's bravery? They fly all around the world in one night. They must be the bravest of all. I just need enough to help my song come out strong. Thank you, Santa. Love, Lily. Oh, my dear Lily, what a wonderful wish! You know, you are quite right. The reindeer are very brave. But I will let you in on a little secret. Bravery isn't about never feeling that wobbly jelly in your tummy. Ho ho! Why, even Rudolph sometimes gets a little flutter in his nose before we take that first great leap into the sky. True courage, you see, is feeling that wobble and deciding to do the wonderful thing anyway. It's loving your song so much that you're willing to be a bit scared to share it with the world. And that, well, that is a gift. The wish you made in this letter tells me you already have more of that bravery inside you than you know. The song is your gift to everyone who will listen. And sharing a gift from your heart is one of the bravest, kindest things a person can do. So, Lily, when you step out for your solo, take a deep breath and remember that feeling of loving the music. Let that be your guide. The bravery you asked for isn't something I need to deliver, because you've had it with you all along. Just let your song fly. I know it will be beautiful. Ho ho!
I do so enjoy a good puzzle. It gets the mind thinking, doesn't it? I have a couple here I was pondering just this morning. I wonder if you can solve them with me. All right, here is the first one. It's a performance by children, often on a simple stage. They might wear costumes of shepherds or a wise old sage. It tells a very old, very important story for everyone to see and hear. What could it be? This one brings back such wonderful memories. The little ones trying so hard to remember their lines. Ho, ho, ho! It's always a delight. If you need a little clue, many schools and churches put on one of these wonderful plays every single year. Did you guess it? It's a Christmas pageant, of course. Oh, the joy in their faces is the real show. It warms my heart every single time. Ready for another one? Here we go. They are tasty brown nuts, sometimes sold on a city street. They are cooked over a fire, a most wonderful warm treat. A famous song even describes them being warm just so. What are they? This one brings back such wonderful memories. The little ones trying so hard to remember their lines. Ho, ho, ho! It's always a delight. If you need a little clue, many schools and churches put on one of these wonderful plays every single year. Did you guess it? It's a roasting chestnuts, of course. Oh, the joy in their faces is the real show. It warms my heart every single time. Ah, that was fun. A good riddle is like a little gift for the mind, isn't it? It unwraps a happy thought. Well done, you. You know, some of my favorite evenings are the quiet ones, when the workshop has settled down and the snow is falling softly outside the windows. The other night, Mrs. Claus brought out a wonderful old project she'd found tucked away, a giant jigsaw puzzle. But this wasn't just any puzzle. Oh, no. This was a magical map of the entire world. Every time we'd find the right spot for a piece and snap it into place, the little cardboard country would come alive with a tiny moving picture of a holiday tradition from that very spot. We saw bustling city squares filled with lights, families skating on frozen rivers, and choirs singing in beautiful old cathedrals. It was marvelous. We spent hours side by side piecing together the continents, sharing stories and mugs of cocoa. Finally, after all that work, there was only one piece left. It was a tiny little shape for a small island way out in the middle of the vast blue ocean. I picked it up, and we both leaned in close, so excited to see what grand celebration this final piece would reveal. I placed it into the puzzle, and the image shimmered to life. But there was no big festival. There were no fireworks. It was a simple, beautiful scene of a family sharing a quiet meal together on a sandy beach. The light was soft, their faces were happy, and you could just feel the warmth and love between them. Mrs. Claus squeezed my hand, and I looked at her and smiled. We had seen so many wonderful, grand celebrations all across the globe, but that last little piece might have been the most important of all. It was a perfect reminder that the truest holiday spirit is found simply in being together. What a lovely evening that was. Ho, ho, ho! In my many journeys across the night sky, I've had the great privilege of seeing how the spirit of Christmas shines in every corner of the world. Each place has its own special way of celebrating, its own beautiful song of joy. It's one of my favorite things to see from the sleigh. In the wonderful country of Mexico, there is a tradition that fills my heart every time I see it. It is called Las Posadas. For 9 evenings leading up to Christmas, as twilight settles, you can see the most lovely sight. Whole neighborhoods come alive with the soft glow of candles. Families and friends walk together in a procession, their voices joined in song as they reenact the long journey in search of a welcoming place to rest. They travel from door to door, singing their story until a designated home opens wide to greet them. And oh, what a celebration happens then! The travelers are welcomed inside with such warmth and happiness. There is festive food to share, and for the children, well, there is the joyful fun of the piñata. Ha, ha, ho! It is a beautiful, living reminder of the importance of kindness and opening our doors and our hearts to one another. It is so wonderful, isn't it, to see how the spirit of giving and togetherness is celebrated in so many different, beautiful ways. Each tradition is like a unique candle, and together they light up the entire world with hope and love. You know, every single task here at the North Pole, no matter how small it may seem, is part of the great Christmas magic. But sometimes it can be difficult to see just how important your own part is. It brings to mind a tale I hold quite dear. Perhaps you'd like to hear it. It's a story I call The Gnome Who Polished a Star. We have a gnome here, a hard-working fellow by the name of Gritstone. His job was to polish the long silver runners of my sleigh until they shone like frozen starlight. But Gritstone's heart was heavy. He felt his work was overlooked, hidden beneath the grand sleigh itself. And so, feeling unseen, He began to polish them and then give them a tiny secret scuff, just enough to take the perfect gleam away. For a while, I couldn't figure it out. The sleigh just didn't seem to glide with its usual grace. The runners felt sad. One evening, I went to the sleigh house and found Gritstone staring at his own glum reflection in the metal. I knew then, but instead of scolding him, I asked him to walk with me. We stood outside under the endless twinkling sky. I pointed way, way up. Gritstone, I said, I have a new job for you, a task of the highest importance. I handed him the softest polishing cloth we have, woven from Arctic fox fur and moonbeams. I need you, I told him, to polish our guiding light. I need you to polish the North Star. Well, you should have seen his face. His eyes went as wide as dinner plates. He couldn't believe I would trust him with our most vital beacon. From that day forward, a change came over him. Every night he would climb the tallest ladder in the world and polish that star with all his heart. He polished away every bit of cosmic dust until it blazed with a pure, brilliant fire we hadn't seen in 1,000 years. And that, you see, is the heart of it all. It shows that sometimes the best way to help someone see their own light is to trust them with a little bit of yours. Ho, 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 yes, a second chance and a little faith, that can be the most powerful magic of all.
The North Pole sky is so clear tonight, filled with countless stars. It started me thinking about my journey on Christmas Eve and the old friends I have up there in the cosmos. It brings a smile to my face, remembering my top 3 guiding star patterns that I look for every year. My number 1 guide is a classic, though I call it by a different name. It's the Great Sleigh. Ho, ho, ho! Yes, you might know it as the Big Dipper, and a fine name that is. But to my old eyes, sailing high above the world, its shape is undeniable. It looks just like a grand celestial sleigh, blazing a trail for me across the endless dark sky. Then there's my second faithful friend, the reindeer's antler. It's that wonderful, crisp, W-shaped constellation. No matter where I am, it always seems to be there, pointing me south, toward all the quiet towns and sleeping cities. It's like a silent compass, always reminding me of the way to the homes of dreaming children. And my third, oh, this one is a private little wonder. I call it the Little Bell. It isn't a single star, but a small, shimmering cluster of them, all huddled together. When the sleigh is flying especially high, where the air is thin and cold, their faint light seems to twinkle and dance, almost as if I can hear a silent, frosty jingle on the wind. The Great Sleigh, the reindeer's antwer, and the Little Bell. Ho, ho, ho! They're more than just lights to me. They are faithful companions on the most important night of the year, each one a little wink from the universe, guiding me along the path to all of you.
Ho, ho, ho. You know, in all my years, I've learned that the brightest light at the North Pole isn't the star on top of the great tree, or even the glow from Rudolph's nose. Oh no, it's my dear Mrs. Claus. She has a way of seeing right to the heart of a matter, especially when things get a bit tangled. I remember just the other week, a young elf named Elmsworth, a wonderful toy maker, just a bit clumsy with his elbows, was polishing the grand sleigh compass. Well, one slip, and clink, a tiny but very important crystal was knocked loose. He was so worried I'd be disappointed, he tried to fix it himself with a bit of sap glue and a hopeful wish, hiding it under a bit of polish. When I found it, I must admit my brow was a bit furrowed. That compass guides us through the thickest fog. But Mrs. Claus, she just came over, placed a hand on my shoulder, and looked at young Elmsworth not with frustration, but with the warmest understanding. She picked up the compass and said something I've been thinking about ever since. She said, "A mended toy is stronger than a hidden crack. The truth, even when it's difficult, always builds a better foundation." Ho, isn't that just perfect? In one moment, she fixed both the compass and a worried little heart. She always does that. We all make mistakes, of course we do. It's part of learning and growing. But hiding them is like putting festive paper over a box that's about to fall apart. It's always better to be honest and ask for help. A shared problem is a problem half solved, after all. Ho, ho, it's a good thought to keep in your heart, I think. I have the great ledger open here beside the fire, and my, oh my, the entries from this year are already filling the pages with such light. I found one I must share with you. It's a story that truly warms my old heart. The tale comes from a marathon, all the way in the beautiful country of Kenya. Imagine the scene. The sun is high, the runners have traveled a great distance, and the finish line is just ahead. Two athletes were running shoulder to shoulder, both with their eyes on the prize for third place. They had trained for months, perhaps years, for this very moment. In that final stretch, when every muscle aches, one of the runners stumbled and fell. The path to victory was suddenly clear for the other. He could have surged ahead and claimed his prize, but he didn't. Ho, ho, not at all. He stopped. He turned back, reached out his hand, and helped his competitor back to his feet. And then, together, they finished the race at the exact same time. Now, in the record books, it may look like a tie, but in this ledger, in my ledger, it is marked as a tremendous victory for both of them. They understood something so important that day. They understood that the true prize isn't always a medal, but the character you show on the journey. In choosing to lift another up, that young man won something far more lasting than a race. He won a moment of pure grace and kindness.
It's deeds like this, selfless and from the heart, that fill me with such immense pride. It proves that the spirit of goodness is alive and well in every corner of the world. It gives me all the hope I need.
Have you ever paused to look at a Christmas wreath hanging so proudly on a front door and wondered about its story? It seems like such a simple, beautiful thing, but oh, it holds so much meaning within its circular embrace. You see them everywhere, of course. A lovely ring of evergreen, smelling of pine and the crisp winter air. Sometimes they are decorated with bright red berries like little drops of joy, or a fine ribbon tied in a perfect bow. To me, they have always been the most welcoming of signs. The tradition is very old, reaching back to a time when winter felt very long and dark indeed. In those days, people would gather evergreen boughs and bring them into their homes. It was a promise, you see, a reminder that even under a blanket of snow, life was still there, green and vibrant, just waiting for spring's return. It was a circle of hope in the coldest of times. Later, the wreath's shape took on a special meaning. A circle has no beginning and no end. It simply goes on, which made the perfect symbol for a love that is eternal and unending. And if you look closely at a wreath made of holly, some see the prickly leaves as a quiet reminder of great sacrifice and profound love. Ho, ho, ho! I must tell you, on my yearly journey, I see countless wreaths on doors all across the world. From my sleigh, they look like little beacons of warmth and kindness. Each one tells me that inside that home, the Christmas spirit is alive and well. It's a beautiful message to send out into the night. So the next time you see one, remember that it is so much more than a decoration. It is a symbol of life's persistence, a circle of unending love, and a beautiful way of saying to all who pass by, "Welcome, there is joy in this home." It warms my old heart to see the wonderful questions that find their way here to the North Pole. Your curiosity is one of the brightest lights in the world, and I do so enjoy taking a moment to sit and read them. Let's see here. This first one is from a young fellow named Ethan, who is 12 years old. Ethan asks, "Do you have a personal workshop just for you where you work on your own hobbies like woodworking or building model sleighs?" Ho, ho, ho! Ethan, that is a marvelous question. The main workshop is a grand, bustling place full of cheerful noise and industry. But yes, I do have a smaller, quieter workshop of my own. It's tucked away behind my home, nestled amongst the silent pines. It always smells of cedar and gingerbread. The elves call it the Tinkerer's Nook. Inside, my old tools hang on the walls, each one with a story to tell. It's there I work with my hands, just for the joy of it. I carve little wooden animals for the reindeer, and yes, I do build model sleighs. I like to experiment with new runner designs on a small scale. It's my quiet place, where the only sound is the crackle of the fire and the whisper of a wood plane. Now for our next one. My goodness, what a beautiful thought! This comes from Maria, who she says is a sound engineer. Maria asks, is there a magical echo canyon near your village where all the sounds of Christmas morning laughter from around the world gather together? Maria, what an incredible thing to imagine, and I can tell you it is quite real. We call it the Canyon of Joyful Echoes. It's a short sleigh ride from the village, a winding valley of ice that shimmers like crystal. And on Christmas morning, as the sun rises across the world, the most wonderful thing happens. The canyon begins to fill with a sound like a billion tiny happy bells. It is the pure sound of laughter, of delight, of surprise, carried on the winter wind from every home you can imagine. It isn't loud, but rather a warm, shimmering chorus that fills the air. I often go there after my long journey is done, just to sit and listen. It is the sweetest music in all the world. What beautiful questions! Thank you to Ethan and Maria and to all of you who send your thoughts my way. Please always keep wondering, always keep asking. Your curiosity is a gift that makes the world a more magical place. My dear Mrs. Claus, she is the heart of the North Pole, you know. The reason the workshop hums with such joy and the village feels so much like a home. We have shared more seasons than there are stars in the sky, and I cherish every one. But even after all this time, we still have one little friendly disagreement that makes me chuckle every single year. It's all about what the North Pole should officially smell like. You see, I am a firm believer in the crisp, invigorating scent of pine and peppermint. Ho, ho, ho! It's the smell of work and wonder. It keeps the mind clear and the spirit bright. It reminds me of the vast, silent forests that surround our home and the energy we need for the big night. But Mrs. Claus, she just shakes her head and smiles. She insists the true scent of the North Pole is warm gingerbread and cinnamon. To her, it's the scent of comfort, of a warm kitchen on a cold day. It's the scent that says, you are welcome here. You are loved. We have these magical scent diffusers all through the village square, and they tend to take on the opinion of whoever has just walked by. So if I pass through on my way to the workshop, the whole square is filled with that bright minty pine. But moments later, after she's been by with a tray of cookies for the elves, the air magically shifts to that warm, spicy sweetness. Ho, ho, ho! And she has a secret weapon in this little debate of ours.
She'll often point towards the stables with a twinkle in her eye and say, "Nicholas, the reindeer seem to sneeze an awful lot when it's your scent in the air. We must think of their comfort." And she is right. Comet in particular lets out a mighty sneeze whenever a strong gust of peppermint comes his way. In the end, it doesn't truly matter. Whether it smells of the forest or of her kitchen, it always smells of happiness. And that, I know, is all her doing. She makes this place a home for us all.
Sometimes, amidst all the important work of the season, it's the little moments of silliness that truly make the workshop sparkle. A shared riddle, a funny story, it warms the spirit. I was reminded of a few just now, and I thought perhaps you might enjoy them too. All right, here is the first one. Who delivers presents to baby sharks at Christmas? Why, Santa Jaws, of course. Oh, that one always makes the elves giggle, especially the ones who look after the magical creatures in our Arctic waters. They assure me he's quite a friendly fellow. Now, let's see. I remember this one. Why was the snowman looking through the carrots? He was picking his nose. Oh my, that's a bit cheeky, isn't it? We have to be very careful where we leave the spare carrot pile in the village square after that one. All right, one more for you. What is a ghost's favorite Christmas carol? It's "I'll be Gnome for Christmas." A chuckle for that one. The workshop gnomes are particularly proud of that joke. They say the friendly spirits who wander the old forests are always humming it this time of year. A good laugh. It's like a warm cup of cocoa for the soul, isn't it? It reminds us to find the light and the fun in the moment. Remember to share a smile today. It's one of the most wonderful gifts you can ever give. Ho, ho, ho! Have you ever looked up at the winter sky and wondered where the Christmas magic truly comes from? It's a wonderful question. Many think it's just my workshop, or perhaps the stardust on the reindeer's antlers. But the truth, oh, the truth is something far more beautiful, and it begins with you. You see, we have a name for the very heart of our magic here. We call them the memory snowflakes. Every time a moment of pure holiday joy happens anywhere in the world, a family gathering to decorate a tree, a chorus of voices singing a beloved carol,
or even just a warm, quiet hug shared between two friends, something incredible occurs. High up in the clouds, that feeling, that little spark of happiness creates a single perfect snowflake. Each one is entirely unique, a tiny frozen pattern of that specific good feeling. They don't melt, these special flakes. They drift on the wind all the way here and fall ever so softly over our village. The elves and I, we collect them. We have a great silent library made of ice where every one of these snowflakes is kept safe. It is the quietest and yet the most joyful room in the entire world. And if you were to hold one up to the light, oh, it is a marvel to behold. You can look deep inside its crystal heart and see the memory it holds, a shimmering, moving picture of that moment of love and warmth it was born from. This grand collection, this library of happy moments is what powers everything we do. It's what makes the reindeer fly. It's what guides my sleigh through the darkest night. It isn't just magic. It's the collected spirit of Christmas sent to us from all of you. It's the beautiful proof that the smallest moments of kindness are what truly make this season bright.
You know, the letters that find their way to my desk are as varied as the snowflakes that fall outside my window. Many are filled with joyous lists and hopeful wishes. But every so often, a letter arrives that isn't for me at all. This one is for one of the elves, and it's one I shall treasure. Let me read it to you. It says, "Dear elf who made the wooden train set, my name is Ben. You don't know me, but you made the beautiful train set I got last Christmas. It was my favorite gift. I'm writing because something happened last spring. I was having a very bad day, and I got so frustrated that I threw the little red caboose. It broke. My dad helped me glue it back together, and it looks mostly okay, but it's not the same. I have felt so guilty ever since. I kept thinking about how much time you must have spent carving it and painting it so perfectly. It wasn't fair of me to break something you worked so hard on. I don't want anything for Christmas this year. I just want you to know that I am truly, truly sorry for being careless with your work. Sincerely, Ben." Oh my, what a heart this young man has. It takes a special kind of courage to face a mistake head on. It's easy to feel sorry, but it's another thing entirely to try and make it right. I know exactly the elf who made that train set. His name is Barnaby, and his hands have been carving wooden toys for over 200 years. He whistles as he works, and he says he puts a little bit of his happy tune into every piece he makes. I can tell you, Ben, that knowing you cared so much about his work will mean more to him than all the candy canes in the North Pole. An apology like this, it doesn't just fix a toy, it mends the spirit. I will make certain Barnaby receives this letter myself. And Ben, if you happen to be listening, know that your message is the most wonderful gift you could possibly give. It shows a kindness and a wisdom that makes my whole heart very, very proud, truly.
I do so enjoy a good puzzle. It tickles the mind and warms the spirit, much like a good cup of cocoa. I have a couple of riddles for you today. Let's see if we can solve them together. Are you ready? Here is the first one. There is a joyful, metallic sound that rings out on a special morning. It announces to the whole world that a new hope has been born. It often comes from a tall steeple, loud and clear. What could it be? That is a lovely sound to think about. It fills the air with such feeling. If you need a little clue, think about this. These often peal from high towers to spread holiday cheer. Did you guess it? Ho! It's the sound of church bells. Ah, yes, I can hear them now, ringing across the snowy valleys. Such a wonderful and hopeful sound. All right, how about another? Here we are. It has no engine or wheels, but it slides down a hill so fast. It can be made of wood or even plastic for a snowy blast. It's such a simple, wonderful toy for a day of fun. What is it? Ho! This one makes me think of the laughter of children, one of my favorite sounds in the world. Here is a little help. You ride this down a snowy slope, especially after a big storm is done. You know this one, I'm sure of it. It is a sled, or a toboggan, of course. Oh, the elves and I have had many a race down the hills of the North Pole. You must remember to lean into the turns. Ah, that was fun. A good riddle is like a little gift for the mind, isn't it? It unwraps a little bit of wonder all on its own. There's nothing quite like a good project to keep the hands busy and the heart warm. Just the other day, Mrs. Claus and I were looking around the village square and noticed some of our old signposts were looking a bit weathered by all the snow and cheerful commotion. So we decided it was time for a fresh coat of paint. We spent the entire afternoon at it. I had the big pot of bright white paint for the letters, carefully tracing over the words on signs pointing to the wrapping paper depot and Cocoa Cup Crossing. And right behind me was Mrs. Claus with her fine brushes and little pots of green and red, adding the most wonderful flourishes of holly and ivy to the corners. We make quite the team, you know. We were nearly finished when we came upon the oldest signpost of them all. It was small, leaning just a little, and it pointed the way to the reindeer stables. The wood was gray and worn with age, and the letters, oh my, they were my very first attempt from so very long ago. A bit shaky, I must admit. I dipped my brush, ready to make it look as crisp and new as all the others, but Mrs. Claus placed a hand on my arm. She just smiled at it. Then she took a beautiful fresh wreath she'd made and hung it right over the top of the sign. She looked at my wobbly, faded lettering and said, "Every journey needs a beginning, and this one is perfect." And you know, she was absolutely right. We left it just as it was. It's funny, isn't it? Sometimes the most beautiful things aren't the most perfect, but the ones that hold the best memories. What a wonderful day that was!
Ho, ho, ho. You know, in all my travels on Christmas Eve, I have seen the spirit of the season shining in countless ways. Every rooftop I land upon has its own special glow, its own unique way of celebrating this magical time of year. And some traditions just, well, they make my old heart feel as full as my sack of toys. There is a particularly wonderful one in the beautiful country of Poland. It is a Christmas Eve supper they call Wigilia. The whole family gathers, but the celebration doesn't begin right away. No. Everyone waits, watching the evening sky until the very first star appears. That is the signal. But there is something else they do that fills me with such warmth. As they set their table with 12 delicious dishes, they always set one extra place. This empty chair and plate are not for a forgotten relative. They are for an unexpected guest. They are a promise that should a traveler or anyone in need knock upon their door, they will be welcomed inside. It is their way of making sure that no one has to be alone on this special night. Isn't that just a marvelous thought? It reminds me that the true spirit of Christmas isn't just about the presents we give, but about the love and kindness we share. It is a lovely thing to see how that very same spirit is expressed in so many different and beautiful ways all across the world. Ho, ho, ho! Truly beautiful!
Ho, ho, ho! You know, not every story at the North Pole is about the great Christmas Eve flight. Some of the most important ones happen right here on the ground, in the quiet moments between seasons. I'd like to share one with you. It's the story of a dear old friend of mine, a story we call Cirrus, the Wind Reader. Cirrus had been one of my finest reindeer for more years than I can count. His legs were as strong as ancient oaks, and his heart was full of joy. But, as it does for all of us, time moved on, and his legs grew tired and achy. You could no longer make the long journey across the world, and I could see the sadness in his old eyes as he watched the younger, spirited reindeer practicing in the snowy fields.
I went to him one afternoon as the sun was setting low. "Cirrus," I said, my hand on his shoulder, "your flying days may be behind you, but your work is far from over. In fact, I have the most important job of all for you." His ears perked right up. I asked him to teach the youngest members of the team, not how to fly faster. Oh no, anyone can learn speed. I asked him to teach them how to listen. He took them to the highest ridge overlooking the village. He taught them to close their eyes and simply feel the air, to understand that the wind is not just empty space, but a carrier of stories. A sharp chill from the north, he'd explain, warns of a coming blizzard. A breeze carrying the scent of salt meant the great sea was not so far away. He taught them to feel the difference between a playful gust and a deep, steady current that could guide a slave for miles. He called it reading the wind, an ancient skill more valuable than any map. The young ones, full of boundless energy, learned to be still. They learned patience from him, and they became the best navigators we have ever had, not because of their strength, but because of the wisdom Cirrus gave them. He never flew on my sleigh again, but his knowledge rides with us every single Christmas Eve. And that, you see, is a wonderful thing to remember. The gifts we have may change over the years, but they never, ever lose their value. The wisdom that comes with a long life is one of the most precious things in the world, and sharing it is the greatest gift of all. Everyone, no matter their age, has a special part to play in the magic of it all. Ho, ho, ho!
With the mail sacks piling high, I find my thoughts often drift to the letters inside. I was just sitting here, watching the snow fall and thinking about my top 3 favorite things to find when I open a letter from a child. The little touches that make me smile the widest. The first is when a child asks a question about Mrs. Claus or one of the reindeer. It shows such a wonderful, kind spirit, and it tells me they're thinking about our whole family here at the North Pole. Those questions, oh, they just warm my old heart right up, knowing they care for everyone here. My second favorite thing is something you might find a bit surprising. It's a tiny smudged fingerprint right next to their name. Ho-ho! It's such a small thing, but it's a little mark of the person who sent it. A sign of their hopeful energy pressed right onto the page. It makes the letter feel so wonderfully and personally real. And the third, well, the third is truly the most special of all. It's a drawing of their family, with everyone holding hands. When I see that, with all the smiling faces, it's the most beautiful reminder of what this season is truly about. It's a picture of pure love. So you see, a question for a friend, a personal touch, a picture of loved ones. These things are the real gifts. They show a heart full of kindness and joy, and that is the brightest magic in the entire world. My dear Mrs. Claus. She has the most wonderful way of seeing straight to the heart of a problem. While I might be busy with my lists and charts, she understands things on a different level. It's a quiet sort of magic she has, a wisdom that is as warm and comforting as the beautiful things she knits. I was reminded of it just the other day. A young elf, Flickerwick, was terribly downhearted. He'd spent weeks designing a brand new whirly-kig, one meant to spin and sparkle with captured starlight. But on its first test run, well, it just wobbled and fell right over. Poor Flickerwick looked as though the sky itself had fallen. He was about to toss the whole project onto the kindling pile. Mrs. Claus was nearby, her knitting needles making that familiar, soothing sound. She looked up, saw the disappointment in his eyes, and she smiled that knowing smile of hers. And she said, "The first knitting stitch is always a clumsy knot, dear. It's the 100th one that makes the sweater. Keep trying." Oh, isn't that just perfect? She has such a gift. With just a few simple words, she can take a tangled mess of frustration and turn it into a thread of hope. And Flickerwick listened. He picked up his whirligig, took a deep breath, and started again. That first clumsy attempt is never the end of the story, you see. It's simply the beginning. The most important part is to just keep trying. I'm just sitting here, my spectacles perched on my nose, looking through the great ledger. The golden ink seems to glow with a life of its own, especially with the newest entries. Every single one is a treasure, but oh my, there's one here that I must share with you. It warms my heart to its very core. This story comes from a university in the beautiful hills of Scotland. Picture a grand old hall full of students rushing about, their minds filled with books and exams and all the worries that come with finding your way in the world. Well, one day a simple board appeared on the wall. No one knew who put it there. And on this board were dozens of little tear-off slips of paper. Each slip held a different message, simple, quiet words of encouragement for anyone who might need them. Things like, "Your ideas matter," or "You are capable of amazing things." A student, perhaps feeling overwhelmed, could walk by and just take one. A little piece of anonymous kindness to put in their pocket and carry with them. Ho, ho! Now, isn't that just a wonderful thought? The person who did this didn't ask for any thanks. They simply saw a need for a little light and decided to provide it. That is the purest form of giving. It proves that you don't need grand gestures to make a difference. Sometimes the most powerful magic is a quiet whisper that says, "I believe in you," even from a stranger. Seeing entries like this fills me with such an immense sense of pride. It's a beautiful reminder that the world is overflowing with goodness, often in the most unexpected and quietest of ways. It gives me such hope for everyone, such wonderful, wonderful hope.